Welcome back, it's DestinysJesus here. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at how you guys can earn money in these solo victory cash cups. So in this tournament, 168 different people managed to make money, which is actually crazy. Not too many people normally earn money in solo cash cups, normally like top 50. However, in this, pretty much anyone who's able to win a game in round 2, or basically qualify for round 2, can get earnings, which I think is really good. It's probably one of the best formats Fortnite has done in a while. It's very open for any of you guys who want to get your foot in the door, get into comp Fortnite. This is the tournament to do it in. In this video, I'm showing you guys what you should be doing to get the win. I might do a separate video in the future on how to qualify for top 2k, but I'm going to be focused on different things that all these players who got 2 wins, there's 25 players who actually got 2 wins, as you can see. And then I'm going to be doing a full review of Krusty. He's doing some very, very unique things in his end games. No one else was doing them. It's not a crazy strat or a perk or augment or anything like that. It's just how he's playing his games out are very unique. He's essentially playing for a top 2 every game. I'd highly recommend you guys watch that full review out towards the end of this video. But let's go ahead and start it. We're looking at some unique perks and strategies that Cammy was doing, as well as some other players who got 2 wins, to actually go ahead and show you guys a couple of different options you can have going into this tournament in the future. One of the best strats that you can do if you can't get a hammer is to go ahead and stack up loads of impulses. And as you can see here, Cammy uses them with a soaring sprints perk. So he sprints as he leaves his box just like this, and he goes absolutely flying. Look how far he goes with this rotate, because the whole way to the end of first moving, and then he's able to do this multiple times. Everyone else is hammer rotating around, and whenever you're hammering, you can't really shoot people, so he gets away with this a lot of the time, and he's able to do it completely on backside as well. Another really good strategy you can go ahead and do is try to use the balloon perk. Basically just send yourself really high up in there. I wouldn't recommend this, because a lot of times you get caught out of it. You need to have good heals before you do it. But as you can see, this guy just completely bypasses first moving, gets sent really high into the air, gets the whole way up here. And if you hammer again after you land, you basically just go straight back up into the air. So as you can see, he just floats around in the air for the majority of this endgame, and then he's able to drop back down with like 1k mats and potentially give himself a good chance to win the game. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. It's quite risky. You can't have more than one person not be doing this, but it definitely is viable if you guys want to try it. Another one of the best perks you can go ahead and take is just using redeploy. It is so underrated. I can't tell you guys. You can see here, this guy looks like he's having a bit of scuff rotate. He's going to fly back in storm. He's able to redeploy really easily and then land on a very good spot, sort of a low-key spot down here. It's really good to take if you're going into a zone that's got a lot of mountains in it and a lot of terrain changes, or over here by Citadel. If you're going into one of those end games, always carry the redeploy perk. It's insanely good. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at Krusty and what he is doing to get 3 wins with some very unique strategies. He's not using any of these perks that I've mentioned. He's not doing anything like that. Instead, quite simply, he's just playing good fundamental solo stuff, playing for that top 2. So for our spawn in this cup, I would say it's a completely different strategy to previous tournaments that we've had for solos. It does not matter if you die spawn, and it really matters about how much loot you can get off spawn. So don't try to be playing for a bad spot. Don't do some like silly split drop on the edge of the map like this player here. You're not going to have enough loot. You need to make sure that you're either running a really set loadout with carrying loads of splashes and maybe impulses. You can make a playstyle work. That's what Cammy did. Or you're trying to play for a hammer, which is exactly what Krusty does here. He goes ahead, sort of messes his drop, but it's fine, and he's very aggressive instantly. He knows if he dies on spawn, it's completely fine. He actually died a couple times in this tournament, but he wants the W key, get this fight over with so he can get cat metal very quickly. Really important for these end games. And then he also wants to go ahead and try to take another fight, which is what we'll look at, to get a hammer. So this is a strategy I've talked about on the Solos Masterclass in the past. It's basically trying to make sure that your first game you have enough loot to go ahead and win the game, which is what Krusty is doing here. You can see he's trying to run around and fish, do all sorts of stuff back in Storm. However, he's not really at a point where you can win the game. And basically try to treat every single one of these games in this solo cash cup as your first game of a cash cup. You need to make sure that you get insanely stacked, which is what Krusty's doing here. He's going around doing the boat fishing strats. Now he's got really good shield fish, and he's doing this so he can take a fight on someone who has a hammer, which is going to give him that movement advantage. You can see here, he actually hears somebody come into his PI with a hammer, and he's immediately just going to hunt it down. And take a look at how he actually approached this fight. He's very confident, hops straight on the wall, pressures, baits this guy out into doing an open edit by spraying with SMG, and then he swaps. Then he's going to go ahead, pressure from the side again, smack the top. Immediately, as he smacks the top, take a look at this, he gets the outside the box control. He's controlling this side, as you can see here, because he's hopped on these walls. This guy can't come this way. This guy's obviously not going to go back into this box where Krusty's set up originally. He's not going to go where Krusty's set up directly above here, of course. So Krusty smacks his top once, baits him out into going the only way he can, and very simply gets this kill. And what is key with that kill, as you can see here, is that hammer. 90% of the games I've seen have been won by someone who has a hammer. It's pretty much impossible to win a game with a hammer. There are some cases where you can, but basically just try to W key until you have a hammer. And then you can see here, it's exactly what he does. Gets cap splashes, and now he's got this insane loadout, as you can see. Game-winning loadout, that's all you need. This is what you should be doing in the first game of your previous cash cups, as I talked about. And it's also what you should be doing in every single game of the current cash cup. There's no point playing a game out for 20 minutes without any mobility, or without good heals, without a hammer. There's really no point. If you guys are enjoying this in-depth VOD review and you want to see more of them, I'm not able to upload this to YouTube as much as I want. It's not many people watch these long sort of in-depth VOD reviews. However, I'm uploading a whole load to my Solos Masterclass. If you guys have the Masterclass, and a lot of you on YouTube do, then it's a free update, completely free for you guys, of course. However, if you want to get in the Masterclass, it's only $20 if you use code YouTube. Very good investment, since you can get the money back 5 times if you just win one game at the moment, which is kind of crazy. If you just get the Masterclass, it gives you a whole load of tips for solos from all different metas. There's a whole load of videos on there from pros and a load of warm-ups and stuff to get better mechanics and things like that. And it is only $20, and you just need to win one game at the moment to get your money back 5 times, which I think is kind of crazy. So definitely check it out. I really appreciate if you guys do. As always, supporting the channel. But let's get straight back into this with some more stuff from Krusty. Now, for mid-game rotates, you might be thinking, okay, well, I've been keying back in the Storm. He's obviously got a really difficult rotate. There's going to be so many people rotating through this side of the map. So what does Krusty do to offset this? He does a classic strat where he boats around the whole map, as you can see here. And just take a look at how well this works. I'll speed forward so you guys get the idea. But this is an unbelievable strat that you can do in these solo victory cups. The lobbies aren't too stacked. There's not going to be too many people back in the Storm. And you can very simply do this if you know all of the white spawns and all the boat spawns around the map. So now that you've gone ahead and W key, you've got a hammer, you've had some good mid-game rotations, trying to use things like the boat strat, or just being early timing on your rotates after taking that fight, you want to make sure that you maintain a mat advantage over everyone else. At this point in the game, a lot of people won't have W keyed, and they'll probably be sitting in the box with around 0 kills, and you want to make sure that you try to make sure your mats are as good as possible compared to those other players. That means that you can offset going for a refresh for as long as possible. You can see here, there's players that are boxed up, barely any mats, there's people that are on backside of Storm, and you can see Krusty, as I'm skipping through, has the highest mats out of pretty much everyone in this lobby at this point. He's done a really good job of refarming, and he's also not going for anything at this point. He does actually get a kill gifted to him, but he's basically just playing really risk-free and waiting for this endgame. Okay, so let's take a look at what Krusty is doing first moving, and then this is later portions of the game where he's getting a kill. But mainly his clear goal here, and the reason why he's the only player to win 3 games, is he's trying to conserve more mats than everyone else by using hammer rotates, and then also using just sprint rotates that you guys should know how to do. I don't know what happened, but since hammers have been added, especially in duos, everyone's hammers around together, people have forgotten how to use their legs. Take a look at what Krusty does. He goes ahead and lands front side on the edge of Storm. He's landing over towards his left-hand side, and he boxes up for a second here. And he's playing on such a high layer here where he can't really get griefed out by hammer. And then now, instead of just hammer rotating early, instead what he's going to do is a nice little stair tart, sprint down, change layers, and again, he's going to these spots that are open on the side of zone. As you can see here, no one is really underneath him. He's going to these more uncongested sides of zone, and he gets away with this really well, as you can see. And he actually ends up just sitting in a cone and saving mats this way. It's a little bit risky, however, he does it really well. He just holds all of his builds here for a second. Now, as we get into second moving, he's going to do exactly the same thing. He's going to combine hammer rotates with actually just running and sprinting for all of the rotates here. So you can see it's very congested. There's a lot of people boxed above him now. Obviously, those people just land on high layers of hammers. So he's going to run. No one is doing this. I'm not joking. I've watched about 20 people play solo games. No one is just running until getting a free hammer. Exactly what he does here. He gets into this nice free open space. This is where having glider redeploy will be pretty useful. He's able to just use his movement quite well during the air. Land down towards low ground. On edge of zone again. Look how far on the edge of zone is. Zoom out here. He's the most outwardly edge player. He's going towards that expanding side of zone on that north hand side. So he's got a really free rotate. And it means he doesn't have to go for a refresh. And again, just take a look at his mats. Ignore the people who've just got a kill or a refresh. As you can see, this guy's just got a refresh. But take a look at the mats compared to everyone else. He's got so many more mats than the majority of his players. And it just means he doesn't have to go for a refresh. Now for refreshes, I know a lot of you guys struggle with getting refreshes and solos, and they are key to winning some of these games. Unless you're getting refreshes, I'm going to be honest, you're not going to be able to win a game with solos. And how does Krusty go ahead and get refreshes? Every single one of the refreshes he got in this entire endgame came from him being front side of zone, being in a box, and then just using the edits around him in a single box most of the time, maybe a 2x1, occasionally, into looking for a kill. Prime example here, in the second moving, he catches Anderlecht running around with no mats on somebody else's wall, gets the kill, then gets out of it straight away. And notice how he doesn't faff around changing anything after he gets that refresh. And let's go to the next refresh. He goes towards front side again. He's going to go ahead and box up in a 1x1 here, and he's actually able to catch somebody. Actually ends up killing this player right here, who gets a refresh, and he's able to drop this guy down. Again, just looking around with his edits from his original box, and he's always doing this at front side. At no point is he trying to go for a refresh with his SMG, trying to hold somebody on backside or shoot somebody in front of him. He's just simply looking for a kill with the edits around him, as you can see, and it works really well. Again, moves towards front side, boxed up on low ground. This is where he actually builds a nice little 2x1, make sure all the edits are his, and he's going to start looking for a kill. And this is where it gets into his next gameplay strategy, which I think is really good. After he gets his next kill, you can see, again, simple. Just looking from this 2x1. The good thing about a 2x1, of course, is that he has so many edits to actually look around. He's got all of these edits here that you can look from, all these edits around this side. Look how much potential kills he could get from this 2x1 on the front side. And he's very simply gets dropped down on somebody, kills them, gets all the mats from it. And then now he's insanely stacked on mats. Again, doesn't faff around too much. He's still got the same loadout as he did at the start of this game. He's going to go towards front side, and he starts tarping on low ground. You do not need high ground to win a game in these solos. Every single person thinks, oh, how do I win a game of solos? I'm going to go for height. And every single player at this point, if I skip through, every single player has a hammer. Everyone is thinking the same thing. You need to think differently, and you need to start claiming low ground. Get those refreshes from being front side, being in good positions like Krusty is doing here, and then start tarping on low ground, as you can see. You should be able to train these actual tarps, as you can see here, into getting more refreshes. But the key thing is, right, as you can see here, he's looking for another refresh. He doesn't chase these kills. He doesn't over aggro. Instead, he's just focused on staying front side with his mat advantage compared to the rest of the lobby, and just trying to get more kills that way. So now into this final zone position here, you can see from Krusty, he actually uses and saves one of his splashes for playing whites later on if need be. He knows he's likely to get a siphon kill on low ground, so he wants to save that splash, and he uses his last remaining builds pre-tarping on front side low ground, so you can play and claim this low ground layer and try to look for a kill from it. There's no point trying to play mid ground layer at this point. Everyone at mid ground is thinking the exact same thing. Let me just hammer up on height, and that's exactly what this guy does in the second here. He hammers up on height, kills the player, but Krusty at the same time is able to win a 1v1 down on low ground, because again, he has all these edits, he's pre-tarped most of this. It's a nice little right and peek into this player here who's quite low, and now he's in the situation where it's a 1v1 and both of them just killed someone. How he doesn't let the player on height have that high ground advantage. He immediately takes the fight. So if you don't let the player on high ground bully you and spray you. So now, only, I repeat, only in the very final 1v1 does he immediately just start looking at height. And this is where he does a very nice play, which is to hammer straight up just like this. Goes ahead, waits a sec, and goes ahead and hammers straight up. Before the player on height can start spraying him and pressuring him, he's going to go ahead, last remaining play, go for high ground, knock the guy out, force it into an angel, and hits a nice little right peak at the end there, and he catches the player off. Perfectly played game by Krusty here. Let's take a look at some other games from him and see what we can learn. So now in the second win you can see here from Krusty, he's playing it extremely well. As you can see, he's only got a refresh on first moving. He has everything he needs to actually win this game, but he's not playing something crazy. He's not trying to do a win condition and go for height or something. And this game as well, he didn't want to play towards low ground. There was a player below him, and it's a very awkward mountain zone. So instead, he's just tarping on mid ground and waiting for the opportunity to present itself to him. And he catches it right here. He spots this player above him, takes this fight, whereas he sort of needs to fight for a refresh at this point. Gets the refresh, and most importantly, gets the med mist from that kill. And he plays the full med mist back in Storm. A lot of people, if they're trying to play this for a win, I guarantee a lot of you guys would think, okay, let me go ahead and hammer into Storm now, and then start using my mid list. I can pay for heal off. But you can see here, he's perfectly fine trying to play this into the sort of 1v1 situation, and then play out the 1v1 from there. So he forces the guy on height, who's been playing height for most of the zone, to drop down and start pressuring the player on low ground. Player on low ground, of course, hammers up. Now they have this sort of 1v1 angel. which this guy wins. And then now Krusty's going to head and splash up and go into Storm, and he's perfectly happy. Just getting the top 2 and then trying to win the 1v1 is the best thing you can do. Now he's in a really good situation. He's up on high versus another player. And he actually, I think, makes the correct decision here. He spots this player going back sort of early in Storm with the mid mist. You don't know if this guy's got a full mid mist at this point. So Krusty's only got 50 white. So he has to run in Storm and chase him. Misses the shot. He's able to track the guy nicely with the SMG and win the game with 1 HP. Came down to it very close, you can see. Margin there of actually winning the game is very small. However, just playing for that top 2 gets him another win.